Hello, my wonderful, beautiful friends. Welcome back to r/entitled people, where you'll hear crazy stories about people who think they can always get what they want. Guys, I hope you're having a lovely day today. And for my regular people who I always see in the comments, I really do appreciate seeing you in the comments almost every day. It's like we're friends. We're friends at this point. With that said, guys, you know the deal. You're about to hear some crazy stories. So sit back, relax, and do enjoy them. Oh, and if you're new here, do hit that subscribe button for future stories. So this morning, my manager and I were trying to catch up and prep everything in time for breakfast rush. After our night crew got destroyed last night due to floods of people coming in from a nearby high school that was having a speech tournament. I was washing and refilling sauce bottles because we seriously had no mayonnaise or any sauce backups when someone starts ringing the bell like it was a rapid fire weapon. So I dropped the mayo sauce bottle and ran up there, pretty annoyed, because who does that? Enter grumpy Wilford Brimley lookalike. I asked, "What can I get for you today, sir?" He says, "Maybe I would know if I had time to look at the menu." Now, I'm thinking, what? You just rang the damn bell like you were ready to order, but too impatient. So I said, "Sir, you rang the bell. To me, that means I know what I want, I need service, come help me." He responded, "Well, I didn't want to have to wait for you to come up here when I got ready." I then asked if he'd mind if I went back there to fill up the sauce bottles, as it'll only take a minute or two. He said, "No, I don't want you going back there and have to ring the bell again when I'm ready." So I waited for him to decide what he wanted, which took another 5 minutes at least, and finally, he picks something and I make it for him. Meanwhile, a huge line is built up because he did not want anybody to go in front of him when he was deciding on what he wanted. He then said, "I want that on herb and cheese bread." So I grab one and cut it in half for a 6-inch sub, and he says, "I want the other half. It looks like there's more cheese on that. Why would you think I wanted the half with less cheese? I'm asking for cheese bread, not plain bread." So little comments like this kept flying. Now, keep in mind that all these people had heard the guy being rude and obnoxious to me. Finally, we get to the sauces and he says, "I want lots of mayo." And that's it. I told him, "Sorry sir, we're out of mayo." "What do you mean you're out of mayo?" "Well, I was prepping the sauces when you rang the bell, and I wanted to go back there to finish bringing out the sauces, but instead you said I stay up here. So unfortunately, I didn't have time to prepare any mayo." He said, "Well, go back and make some. Now." So being sick of this guy's attitude, I saw an opening for a little lesson. While turning to the other customers, I said, "I know you guys have been patiently waiting a while, but is it okay if I go back there to make some mayo?" Lucky for me, a few customers in line saw how he was treating me, and every person in line said, "No." I then said with a smile, "Sorry sir, you've been inconsiderate to these other customers and they don't want to help you out. It looks like you'll have to pick a different sauce." He got so mad that when I rang him up, he threw the money on the counter and seriously stormed out like a child. My manager backed me up 100% because she heard the whole thing from the back. If you're out there, sir, I hope you get your mayo that you desperately needed. My friends, so I've worked in fast food before and I know exactly what it's like to have customers like this. So I had a guy who reported me to my manager because I didn't address him as sir. The guy literally got mad and said I was disrespectful for waving at him when he was sitting at a table waiting for a sandwich, instead of saying, "Excuse me, sir, your sandwich is now ready." Now listen guys, never in my life have I ever wished a lightning strike on somebody so bad. He told me I should always talk to customers like they're royalty, because they're the ones paying for my wages. So a few years ago, I worked for a grocery store that had a 100% satisfaction guaranteed customer service policy. It also happened to be very overpriced and attracted upper middle class entitled customers. I started as a cashier, but eventually got a position at the customer service desk. My very first day on my own, this lady approaches, empty-handed, and delivers the following complaint. She says, "So I bought a cake from your bakery. You know, the $40 one with the fruit in the middle or whatever. Yeah, there wasn't enough fruit in it." I say, "Oh, I'm sorry about that. I know the best part of the cake is the fruit in the middle. Would you like to fill out a comment card for the bakery?" Now, I say this because people come to the customer service desk to fill out comment cards or would just like to pass on a suggestion about a department. I assumed that this was the case with this lady, since she did not present a receipt. The lady shakes her head and says, "No, I want a new cake." I'm thinking, oh, I see now. This is easily fixed. Maybe she just forgot to pull out her receipt. Sometimes people are absent-minded, so I asked her if she had her receipt, and she said, "I threw it away. I don't have it." Oh boy, here we go. I say, "Oh, well, how long ago did you purchase it? If it was within the last week or so, we can look up the transaction in our system." Now, she tells me she can't remember when she bought it. She said maybe about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Okay, so at this point, I'm still in full let me help this customer mode. So I start trying to think of ways that she can do this. I asked, "Okay, well, did you maybe hang on to the box it came in? If you bring that in, I might be able to help you do an exchange." Of course, she did not even keep the box or tag either. She said, "My kids ate the cake and I threw it away. I had no reason to keep a box." Silly me. At this point, I figured, okay, we do have a 100% satisfaction guarantee, but this lady is literally asking me to replace a cake that she can't prove she bought. So at this point, I tell her I can't give her a new cake. I told her, "I'm sorry ma'am, but without a receipt or any kind of proof of purchase, unfortunately I can't do a refund or replacement. I'd be more than happy to have someone from the bakery come down and talk to you though." I said that because I didn't know what else I could offer her at this point. She makes a face and crosses her arms and says, "That's not fair." I said, "What?" "It's not fair. It's not fair that my kids were disappointed in a $40 cake that was for their birthday. I spend hundreds of dollars here a week. I expect the best because that's what I pay for." Now, I tried to explain again to her that it's not possible for me to hand her a free cake on her word that she bought one. There is literally no way for me to do that, and besides, I could get in trouble, so I'm not giving somebody a free cake with no proof. She says, "This is ridiculous. You think I'm lying to you? I'm here all the time. I want a manager." Okay, you got it, sister. Let someone with some authority explain this to you. I grabbed the nearest manager and I watched from afar this woman throwing a huge fit because he denied to give her a brand new $40 cake. He told her that since she can't provide proof of purchase, she needs to understand that there can be no compensation. I heard him say, "If that's the case, people can pretend they bought items all day, ma'am, and get free product." And she lost it. She screamed that she was boycotting our chain of stores, that I should be fired, that he should be fired, that the customer's always right, blah blah blah. Long story short, she was asked to leave and escorted out the store by security, all over a $40 cake. My friends, what a ridiculous story, and even more ridiculous that she thought she could get away with it. I'm pretty sure she was trying to get a free cake. She said she bought the cake 2 to 3 weeks ago. Why did it take her this long to come back to the store? If you had a problem with a cake, you definitely would come back either the day after or even the same day, not 2 to 3 weeks later when all of a sudden you remembered that your kids ate a crappy cake. So, I want to tell a story about my entitled coworker. I've been working my office job for about a year now, and like many people, I like to bring my own food for lunch, as we have a fridge to put things into. I bring my food in containers with my name on them. Now, this coworker, who we'll call Mr. Eats a Lot, would a lot of the times purposely not see people's names on food. He would heat it up and eat it, and then shrug it off like nothing happened. He did this very often enough for it to be a nuisance. And the funny thing is, I don't think he's ever bought his own lunch. He basically thinks he's entitled to anybody's lunch that he wants. So last month, I decided that I had enough. I had bought a homemade pot pie and was looking forward to eating it, and when I got to the fridge, it was gone. Now, I grew up eating really spicy food due to my culture, so I do love a super hot and spicy meal. I love making everything a lot hotter than it is. I decided to teach this guy a lesson and went online and bought a few Carolina Reaper peppers and decided to make a delicious and heartwarming stew. I slow simmered for 6 hours just to make sure to squeeze every bit of goodness out of the peppers. Now, I'm not gonna lie, that stew was one of the hottest things I've ever eaten, and my eyes were watering and sweat was basically dripping when I was eating it. I decided to pack up the stew in 7 or 8 containers and brought it to work and had it for lunch every single day. So on a Thursday, I noticed that my lunch went missing, and immediately I knew it must have been Mr. Eats a Lot. Word quickly spread through the office that he went home sick and was off for a few days due to some major stomach pain. A few weeks passed and Mr. Eats a Lot approached me and demanded that I admitted what I did and that he was talking to HR to try to get me fired for trying to kill him. HR approached me and told me that they needed to talk to me about this serious situation, as Mr. Eats-A-Lot suffered some severe stomach issues from this. So, long story short, I was told that I could be fired for tampering with food and trying to elicit harm to a coworker. I told them that I love spicy food and that my lunches are not meant for other people to eat. I argued saying that Mr. Eats-A-Lot was the one who was stealing staff lunches, and I asked him point blank in front of HR if he ate my lunch, which he admitted to doing. So in the end, they agreed that my lunch should not have been eaten, and I should not be held liable if somebody eats another coworker's lunch and suffers any side effects from it. The meeting ended and nothing happened. My lunch was not taken anymore, and Mr. Eats-A-Lot never ate another lunch from any other coworkers. Listen guys, I will never understand why people feel the need to eat other people's food. If it's not yours and you didn't bring it to work, why the heck are you eating it? Dude, the fact that Mr. Eats-A-Lot would purposely not see names on food and just shrug it off after he ate it, he definitely deserved that painful toilet session or whatever stomach issues he got. I feel like that HR meeting was definitely unnecessary because he shouldn't have been eating anybody's lunches at all. So today, I stopped by the store to pick up my daily necessities and see one of my cashiers who's become somewhat of a friend. We will call him Paul. He's awesome and funny, so of course I didn't need much of an excuse to use his checkout. This particular store has multiple stores in my city, and some are literally 4 to 5 blocks away from each other. Some are really nice and others not so much. This one happens to be in the ghetto, so it isn't unusual to see some crazy go down. But today, I got to see the monster known in these parts as entitlement. My friend saw me coming in and gives me a smile saying, "Hey dude, same as always." I tell him, "Yep," and he says, "Take your time." Now, he was in the self-checkout line today, whose machines are notorious for messing up. 8 machines to 1 clerk. About that time, I see this guy in line over in another lane. Well, being in line is for common folk, not this gentleman. As a manager walks by, he demanded to be helped right now, as he has things to do. Thank the retail gods above that there was an empty machine in self-checkout right next to me. The manager points him over. Good, right? No. How dare one expect this fine gentleman to ring up his own items? It's a travesty, I tell you. In the fine troubleshooting style of the tie-wearing managers everywhere, he has a solution. He said, "Paul, check this good sir's groceries." And Mr. Entitlement chimes in with, "Now." Mr. Entitlement proceeds to order poor Paul to check each item in and to bag it in a specific manner. In the meantime, I'm still waiting. The view from behind is quite nice, but the growing line of customers with moody machines and hungry kids don't seem to be as happy as I am. By the time Paul gets halfway finished with Mr. Entitlement, a crowd of angry ghetto soccer moms has swelled to epic proportions. Like any good manager, he starts barking orders at Paul to hurry up as he busily stares at the clipboard and sips his coffee. Paul's a pretty chill dude. Hurry is not in his vocabulary, and apparently, Mr. Entitlement has OCD. Bagging is a science to him. A misplaced item will apparently end the world. Paul finally finishes his task, and Mr. Entitlement can pay, but only peasants place their money into machines as asked. He pulls out a $100 bill and demands Paul take it to the main register to log payment because he doesn't trust these machines. Each register has plenty of cash to make the change, but Paul does not, so now he has to go after change. Now at this point, I couldn't take it anymore. I'd lost it on the entitled idiot. I made sure that the manager heard exactly what an upstanding clerk Paul is, and I let loose a wrath worthy of all 20 ghetto moms languishing in line. The entitled man received his change and began to demand somebody carry his bags, but I looked at him and said, "Oh no, you carry your own bag," and he departed in shame. Carrying his own bags, thank you very much. I finished my $4.33 transaction that's taken 15 minutes at this point. I took my smile and thanks from Paul and went on my way. Now, I've heard of these people many times, but have never had the opportunity to observe the entitlement beast in its natural habitat. I was astounded. My hat's off to y'all that deal with these idiots daily. How you do it, I will never know. And how you keep from strangling them is beyond me. Guys, I've said it many times before and I'll say it again. I have so much respect for retail workers who go to work every day knowing that they might have to deal with people like this. I know a few who work customer service and they say it's a nightmare some days. So this is why I always try my best to be kind and patient to retail workers. Because, you know, they all have feelings too, my friends. We're all just trying our best to survive this crazy world. And that, my friends, brings us to another end of our /EntitledPeople. Guys, we survived another one. If you enjoyed the stories today, do hit that thumbs up. And if you missed the last episode of our /EntitledPeople, I will link it right here. A family decides to make fun of OP in another language, and they absolutely get destroyed. My friends, if you missed that episode, do go check it out, and I'll see you guys in the next one. I love you.